Good morning, everyone. It's a real privilege to be here at API Days. My name is Damian Thurnheer and I work for APIGuru, where we help companies become API and AI first. We're a proud Google partner and have spent the last few years helping organizations build scalable, secure and future-ready digital platforms through APIs. Right now, we're working with a liquidator who wants to automate the insolvency process of its clients using AI. And let me tell you, there's no way to achieve this without integrating APIs from places like ASIC, ATO, and the major banks. However, the biggest challenge isn't connecting the APIs. It's that those APIs aren't ready for AI agents. That's why I want to discuss with you today what it means for an API to be AI agent ready, why it matters right now, and what you can start doing to prepare your APIs. Let's start with what's happening around us. AI agents are quickly becoming the fastest growing consumers of APIs. Almost all major organizations have invested in AI, and this year AI agents are still one of the major AI initiatives. You might have heard the term agent a lot lately, sometimes overused, sometimes misunderstood. So let's define it simply. An AI agent is not just a chatbot, it's an intelligent system that can understand instructions, plan actions, and take meaningful steps in the real world using APIs. So while large language models like ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude are great at understanding and generating text, it's the APIs that allow them to do something useful like booking an appointment, sending an invoice, retrieving financial data, or even processing a refund. All of that happens through APIs. Without APIs, AI agents would just be very good talkers and not doers. Let's rewind a bit. Initially, when developers started building AI agents, they had to create custom functions to connect to APIs. For every API endpoint, there was some manual coding, parsing the schema, writing the authentication logic, handling errors, mapping the data, and updating and redeploying the code every time something changed. The challenge was clear. Too much custom code and too many variations in API formats, payloads, and behaviors. No matter how RESTful we tried to be, integration still required human effort. To address that, a new standard was developed, the Model Context Protocol, short MCP. MCP provides a unified interface for AI agents and the systems they interact with. It allows agents to discover, explore, and execute functions automatically without manual developer intervention. Think of it like this. MCP is the API for APIs. It tells the agent what's available, how to use it, and how to interpret the results. This is a huge step forward. But here's the important part, and the reason for my talk today. While MCP makes life easier for AI developers, it introduces a whole new set of responsibilities for API providers. Let's go through what that means in practice. First, API providers must support the Model Context Protocol. Without MCP support, AI developers will likely use other APIs that do. If your API isn't easy to use for agents, you'll be left behind. To enable this, providers need to deploy MCP servers that let agents discover available API operations, also called tools, translate MCP requests into actual API calls, and convert your API responses back into MCP-compatible responses. So if you're thinking about future-proofing your API strategy, supporting MCP is one of the smartest early moves you can make right now. Now here's where things get tricky. Metadata. MCP relies heavily on the accuracy of your open API definition. Because AI agents don't have human intuition, they can't guess what your API does if your definition is wrong. Any mismatch, even a small one, between the API and its definition can cause the entire function to fail. This is what we call API drift. To avoid that, make sure your open API definitions are part of your CI/CD pipeline, validated, versioned, and always up to date. Automate schema validation and make sure your metadata includes everything an agent needs. Inputs, outputs, types, constraints, and descriptions. If you've ever said we'll update the docs later, that doesn't work anymore. For AI agents, the open API documentation is essential. Let's talk about errors. Humans can read a 500 error and think, oh, I forgot a token or that endpoint moved. AI agents, on the other hand, don't guess. They follow patterns. That's why your error responses must be designed to help AI agents automatically recover. This means providing structured and predictable feedback. Instead of just returning 400 bad requests, include a clear explanation of what went wrong. This way an AI agent can say, okay, the requested user was not found in the system. I'll create a new one instead of getting stuck in an endless retry loop. Think of it as error handling for machines and not humans. This requires a mind shift for security, as they don't like to see error messages revealing what exactly went wrong. Next, let's talk about workflows. Humans naturally understand context. We know that registering a user probably comes before placing an order. AI agents, however, need that logic written out. This is where workflow documentation becomes critical. You should describe not just what each endpoint does, but how they connect together to complete real-world tasks. For example, a typical onboarding flow might include create a user, verify identity, set up an account, and send a confirmation. Standards like OpenAPI RS specification are emerging to document exactly these kinds of operation chains. Or you can apply REST principles such as HTOAs, in which API responses include links to the next possible actions. This helps agents understand the logical sequence of calls, reducing missteps and making your API more intuitive for autonomous systems. AI agents love patterns. They thrive on consistency. Inconsistencies force agents to guess, and unlike human developers, they don't have other documentation or forums to check. So keep your design clean, RESTful and consistent. Reduce optional fields unless they're truly optional. Keep payloads lean. AI agents often operate under strict timeouts. If you're sending 300 kilobytes of unnecessary JSON, you're burning both compute and patience. Follow a clear design guide. Document your conventions, stick to them, and ensure that every endpoint, field name, and error response aligns with those standards. Remember, for AI agents, clarity isn't just nice to have. It's survival. Now, let's talk about behavior, because AI agents interact with APIs very differently from humans. While a human might click a few times per minute, an AI agent can send thousands of requests per second. They execute bulk operations, automated loops, and generate traffic spikes that can overwhelm your endpoints in seconds. To remain reliable, your APIs need to enforce controls such as quota limits based on agent type rather than just user identity, rate limiting to protect downstream systems, caching and traffic segmentation between human and machine consumers, and asynchronous or batch endpoints to handle heavy workloads efficiently. AI gateways provide out-of-the-box policies to implement these kinds of controls. If your API has ever crashed because someone ran a bad script, imagine when it's an AI that scales itself automatically. That's why we must design APIs that can handle the next generation of intelligent autonomous clients. Security, the topic that never goes away, and for good reason. Most API breaches today come from authenticated users, people, or systems that already have legitimate access. Now, as we add AI into the mix, that risk grows even further. To mitigate this risk, you should maintain a complete inventory of all APIs, not just the ones you remember. Enforce strong authentication standards like OAuth 2.0 and OpenID Connect. Monitor for shadow APIs, those forgotten endpoints still open to the public. And apply fine-grained access control and data governance across all layers. Again, AI gateways can help by providing built-in policies that simplify and automate these security controls. Let's talk business for a second. With AI agents consuming more APIs than ever, we're entering a world of machine-to-machine monetization. Your API traffic may no longer come from human developers or end users. It might come from an entire fleet of AI systems running 24/7. This creates new opportunities. Monetization models like tiered access or usage-based pricing become even more relevant. If your platform offers unique data, say financial insights, logistics tracking, or energy analytics, exposing that data through MCP-compatible APIs can open new revenue streams. In other words, getting your APIs ready for AI agents isn't just about technology, it's about positioning yourself for the next wave of digital business. The earlier you adapt, the stronger your competitive edge. Let's move to the next topic, emerging protocols. While each one speaks about MCP, it is not the only protocol. Other protocols such as agent-to-agent, A2A, and Agent Communication Protocol, ACP, are being developed to handle more complex agent interactions, including security, negotiation, and coordination. We're at the beginning of a new ecosystem, one where agents don't just call APIs, but collaborate with each other through them. It's like moving from humans sending emails to agents automatically negotiating contracts. Be part of the community, shaping how AI and APIs evolve together. Finally, let's talk about developer experience. Traditionally, developer experience has focused on making it easy for developers to onboard, test, and integrate APIs quickly and efficiently. In the world of AI agents and the Model Context Protocol, MCP, that same principle now extends to MCP servers. We need to design a developer experience that makes it just as seamless for developers to discover, onboard, test, and integrate MCP servers. Beyond building great AI products, you also need a great developer portal to showcase those MCP servers, promote their capabilities, and drive adoption. This includes providing self-service testing environments, sandbox or mock MCP servers, and comprehensive usage guides to help AI developers understand and interact with your services effectively. The more predictable, discoverable, and accessible your MCP servers are, the easier it becomes for developers to integrate them correctly, and the faster your AI ecosystem grows. Let's recap. If there's one takeaway from today, it's this. AI agents are becoming your next API consumers, and they already have expectations. To prepare your APIs, focus on these key areas. Support MCP. Keep open API metadata accurate and automated. Provide structured error handling for self-recovery. Document workflows, not just endpoints. Maintain clarity, consistency, and simplicity. Design for high-frequency, autonomous traffic patterns. Strengthen security and governance. Keep an eye on emerging protocols. Explore monetization models for agent-driven consumption and build MCP-friendly developer experiences. The way we design APIs today will determine how seamlessly AI integrates into the world tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope this talk helps you start thinking about your APIs not just as interfaces for humans, but as bridges for intelligent systems. If you need help preparing your APIs for AI agents, think about APIGuru. Thank you.